All right, so I'm here with Cara for another ACL Academy graduate interview. Cara, thank you so much for being here. Can you share just a little bit about yourself as a person, as an athlete?
Yeah. So I am from Utah and we have a lot of the outdoors here. So I love to run. I love to trail run. I'm in the mountains all the time. I love to ski. And when I was injured, I was working as a ski instructor.
Tell me, tell me how that injury happened. Like, can you walk us through it so
Yeah.
people get an idea?
So I had brand new skis and I fell in a turn. Nothing exciting, but my ski did not pop off. So
Okay.
it wasn't a big deal, but I heard the sound. I heard my ACL pop in my knee. And yeah,
And then,
you
so
know what
did,
happens.
did you get did you know something was pretty bad, or at the time you weren't aware and you're like, oh, I'm not sure.
I could walk on it. I got up. It wasn't painful. I had no bruising, no swelling,
Wow,
but I heard a pop.
got it.
And if you're in the ski world, you kind of know that that sound is not a good
Yeah.
thing. So I went to a doctor on site at the ski resort. He thought I just tore my meniscus. Surgeon thought I just tore my meniscus. I tried to see if things would heal for 3 weeks and nothing healed. So I finally got an MRI. My
Yeah,
ACL was gone.
got it. And then so what surgery did you specifically have so people know? Because there is some
Yeah.
variations as far as like the ACL. So what did you have?
So I had an ACL repair with my hamstring graft.
Okay. So they replaced it with your own hamstring, correct?
Yes, yes.
And just remind me, was there any meniscus stuff with yours? No,
No,
right? When the doctor went in
no,
there?
it's all
Okay.
good.
And then beforehand, I didn't ask you this, but were you sent to like prehab? Did you do any prehab prior to the surgery or anything like that?
I had no prehab, and my surgeon told me, you'll be fine. We scheduled it out a month and a half, and he said, go on this trip, hang out, wear the brace. He didn't tell me anything, which I really, really regret.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I didn't know what I needed to do. So I kind of babied my knee for 2 months and went into surgery with my muscles already atrophied.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Yeah, a lot of that is the education piece that we really try to push because, as you know now, prehab makes a big difference
Yeah.
for the post-op stuff. And then so what happened after surgery? Like, did you start PT right away? Walk me through that. Do you remember?
So after surgery, my surgeon recommended a PT, and it wasn't for 2 weeks. And I knew sort of, with an athletic background, I was kind of nervous about that. So I was Googling, like, what should I do?
Yeah.
Um, it just seemed like a very long time to wait. So I kind of had started make sure my knee is straight, a few things on my own. Some surgeons
That's good.
don't give you any information, and
Yeah.
mine didn't. So for those first 2 weeks, I was kind of just Googling, what do I do? What does this mean? Why does this hurt? And
Yeah.
it's a scary time. I wish I had had the answers I had from you later on.
Yeah. It's good that you did Google on your own because those 2 weeks I do think are super important. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you made the most of it. And then when you started PT 2 weeks later, how often were you going?
So I was going twice a week with him and yeah, just 2 times a week.
Okay. And then how long? Well, I think we started working together maybe around 3 months. At what point did you start feel like, something wasn't quite right with the rehab? Like where did you feel it right away? Did you feel as you were going? Like what happened?
I mean, I when I started PT, I was so optimistic and I'd had a history of working out. I loved all these things. I knew how to train. I had done a marathon. Like I knew you build on and you build on. And I think it was around the 3 month mark in PT, I was still doing the same exercises that
Yeah.
I was doing early on. And I looked at my PT and I thought, I don't think this person skis or runs. How is he going to help me get stronger?
Yeah.
Um, but especially being a woman and being new in that world. I didn't want to be needy or, they're the doctor. They know what I need. Don't ask too many
Yeah.
questions. But he wasn't giving me any new exercises. There was nothing to take home. There was no program. It was like I would go in and I would do a few little exercises, or he would tell me what to do, and then I'd work with an assistant. So often I was not even working with a PT. So I would be thinking, well, I hope I'm doing this in the right form. I hope this is safe for my knee. And the little assistant is a college student. They don't really know either.
Yeah.
So I just started feeling like I was going crazy. But I was a workers' comp case. So I was like, this is free. This is what I have to do. This is what my surgeon recommended.
Right.
And in that early stage, you're not supposed to run or do anything demanding anyway. So it's kind of hard to know and track your progress.
Right.
And I had good extension, I had good bending, but I was not getting stronger. I couldn't go for a walk without pain.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, like, I would feel every day like my knee was giving away. I was convinced something was wrong.
Yeah.
But no one, my PT would not listen to my concerns. I sort of got the feeling that he thought I was just an over worrier. But I was thinking, sir, I don't want to just get out of the bathtub. I don't want to just walk to the kitchen.
Right.
I need to go climb the mountain and I need to be able to pick up an adult off of their skis and get them back up too. Like, but when you go to regular PT, I started to look around and I was like, okay, I'm the only one under 70-year-old in this room.
Yeah.
So how do I expect general PT to get me back to being an athlete? It doesn't. And it's hard to come to that realization, but you get desperate.
Right. So is that what made you start? So what did you start doing? And were you start searching for different help or different answers? Like where, like what was your go-to? Was it Googling? Was it social media? Like tell me what you were doing at that time, like when you started getting frustrated.
Yeah, when I started getting frustrated, I like looked up online for anyone local. And I called a couple PTs locally, and it was sort of the same story. It's like, oh, we meet with our clients once a week. And I'm like, well, do you have a program? Do you get people? No, we do it just seems sort of wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So I started looking on Instagram, and you're not, they always tell you don't compare your journey to anyone else.
Right.
But it's hard not to when you're desperate, when you're
Yeah.
thinking, it's 4 months in and I still can't go for a walk. How am I ever going to run? I started looking around online and I think I found you on Instagram,
Okay.
and you had so many videos of actual people. So I felt like I could trust your account. And there was a few other people I was also looking at, but we scheduled a call. And it was like within one phone call, I knew I wanted to work with you.
Yeah. Was there any skeptic like have you ever worked with anybody online? Were you skeptical at all about like working with somebody online or with us at first? Like, or did that not come across your thought process?
I mean, I was definitely like I had thought I prefer to work with someone in person,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go that route. And but I had just, I had tried that and it was not working.
Right.
And I think the thing that was attractive about your program is it's ACL specific. And there were things that my general PT, he works with tons of stuff. I would ask him questions about my knee and he would give me a blank stare. Like
Right. Right.
he wasn't super familiar with this very specific injury. Whereas on our phone call, I don't know, it was like 10 minutes. I asked you some questions and you had more answers in that 10-minute phone call than I had ever gotten from him.
Yeah.
Because you've seen it. You've worked with so many people. You knew, like, my weird worries. I'm like, why does it feel like this when I step like that? You knew exactly what was going on. Hey, and even on the phone call, you were like, no pressure, but why don't you try these few things? Let's try and get a little more extension. and you gave me like a week or a weekend to try a couple tips.
Yeah.
And I remember calling my husband and being like, dude, it already feels a lot better because
Nice.
you helped me get that like the daily little practices, getting
Yeah.
your extension, stretching. I don't know. Everyone knows that generic PT of like put the band on your knees and
Right.
squat around.
Right.
Didn't do anything. It wasn't getting me actual help for my knee, but let's do it again next week and see if it helps next time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like, and I appreciate that. It's awesome. Was that like one of the main reasons that ultimately you chose to work with us? Like, I know, you mentioned a couple things on the call, but what was like was there a moment where you're like, that's it, I'm doing it, I'm jumping, I'm leaving local PT, I'm going to start with us?
I think the biggest thing was just like your confidence in me. There was no question that I would get back to everything I want to do and more. And with my generic PT, it was like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on. Are you nervous? It started to be sort of like I lost hope.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to ski anymore. This is not worth it. It's taken away so much of my life. But on the phone call with you, you were like, I know we'll get you there. We're going to get you stronger than before. And it was like, oh, like you sounded so confident and assured that I could also be confident in myself. And I think that's what hooked me. Well, it wasn't someone that was like, I don't know, knowing, I think you have seen so many stories of people that have gone from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So you know, and the whole time, as people don't believe in themselves, you can. And that support, that scaffolding is what gets you to say yes. And then the first time that I'm scared to run, it's like, well, Khan knows I'm ready and he's worked with all these people. Like anytime I needed to try something new in rehab, it was like, I'm not confident, but Khan is, and he's worked with a million ACL people. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that because that's a big thing with us. Like, yes, it is like a step-by-step process what we do here, and
Mhm.
we try to show you here are the steps, and if you reach these milestones, you graduate and you move and you continue to move through the cycle. But I think part of it too, as you said, is like you have so much doubt when you go through an injury like
Mhm.
this. You need somebody to support you to show you that like, hey, you can do this and the belief in you. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you even sharing that
Yeah.
because I think that's a big part of what we do here. I wanted to ask you, like, how did like the ACL experience, Academy experience compare to your typical like the local visits, like the PT visits? Like, what was the main differences that you saw when you started with us versus what you were doing previously?
Yeah, I think it's online, but you have so much more like individual attention. And I'd go, during the week when you're in recovery, there's so many scary things that happen and you're so worried about your knee. And I would like almost make a list in my mind of what I needed to ask my PT. And then I'd get there and you have no time with the PT.
Right.
So it's just a lot of fear and a lot of dread. But with ACL Academy, you're available 24/7.
Yeah.
So if I'm worried about like, oh my goodness, I just felt this weird click in my knee on the bicycle, like I could email you immediately on Slack and you'd always respond within 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it just gives people that like, it's okay. I
Right.
can ask him any questions. If something comes up, you're always there. You're accessible. That's huge with the ACL program.
Cool. I
And you
appreciate
don't
that.
have that with a PT.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the support, obviously, that you mentioned is really important to me. That was like one of the big things that we built in here because, like, I noticed that people would have all these questions and they were like, I don't get my questions answered, or I email them and then I don't hear from them.
Yeah.
So I do, again, appreciate you sharing that and the importance of the support throughout the process.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this. Was there a moment during the recovery where you thought, Like, was there like a single moment or maybe a couple moments where you're like, all right, I'm actually gonna be okay now. Like, I feel like I'm turning the corner. I see the light. Was there any like moments along the way that you felt that?
It was like a million moments. Um, when your program is much more like numbers based, so you start with a strength test and you have something to build from. And every month you retake that same test and you see the numbers build. And
Right.
I just didn't have anything to track progress before. So it was like, even within a month of working with you, it was like, oh, I'm starting to close that strength gap and my legs are becoming more equal. Even though I still have months before I can run, I can see it starting to get better and better and better. Um, and finally, I would say working with you for like 5 months, I got my strength numbers up enough to run. And
Right.
that is such a huge milestone, and it feels like you've made it. And then you realize I still have to learn how to run.
Yep.
But I think the tracking you have along the way is really, really helpful for someone in recovery because
Cool.
instead of just looking at the end goal of I'm going to be a ski instructor again someday, that's huge and so far away. You really help people get goals along the way.
Awesome.
What's something I want to do today? And you had that, I remember really, really early on in your program, you had us write 3 things we did well today,
Right.
and 3 things we did well yesterday, and 3 things we were going to work on today.
Right.
And it's so good to like get people out of that depressing, I can't do what I love mindset into what am I doing well and what can I work on. So it's like your program shifts people out of the dark and into the light, something to look forward to again
Yeah.
in a daily way, not just, oh my gosh, am I ever going to run again?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I love that you remember that because again, like celebrating those small wins and knowing what you're going to focus on that day, I think that's a big part of like some of this stuff becomes boring and daily, right? Like it's routine, but if you can really kind of nail that down, you just
Mhm.
build, and that's how the momentum comes. So that's so cool that you brought that up. What about like you mentioned running as a milestone? What other big milestone moments come to you like when working with us? Like what have as far as achieving, whether it's running or hiking, skiing, anything that comes to mind that you thought about,
Yeah.
while they're going through the recovery.
I was really excited to run a 5K again. That feels so
Yep.
amazing. And I was excited to do a triathlon. And I think, like, going through the program, you talk a lot about finding other ways to succeed. And I want, try something else. So I tried swimming, and I'd never done that before. Um, so I did a triathlon. I don't know how long it was, after a year after post-op.
Yeah, I think around that. I think I remember you bringing that up.
And that was awesome. Trail running was something that my surgeon, bless his heart, told me, just don't do that anymore. Just don't be a trail runner anymore. That's hard on your knees. So you told me that's BS. And I had signed up last summer. I did a trail race series, and that was so fun and awesome to be back out there doing what I love, back in my mountains, and knowing it's okay. I'm fine.
So
So the
cool.
trail series was great. I'm training right now for a half marathon.
Nice.
Hopefully I'll turn that into a marathon this year
Awesome.
and just get back to everything.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. And then skiing, you went skiing this year too,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I got focused on running, but skiing has been amazing this year and I feel really strong and I'm not
Mm.
wearing a brace.
Cool.
I'm skiing just as well as I was before and maybe even a little bit better because my legs feel awesome. I feel really, really strong and there's no fear. I really thought that the fear would stop me from getting back to skiing. But once I was back on skis, it just felt great again. And I've loved every second. It's been awesome.
So cool.
We just need more snow.
Yeah. And are you keeping some of the things that you learned here, like keeping strong? Are you working out? Like those are the big things that I always want to harp on. I want to share with people. Like just because the recovery is over, strength is a big piece of it. So tell me more about like what you've been doing from that standpoint.
Yeah. So I've been out of the program for like a month and a half now, and I've just kept the same exact routine.
Cool.
I've got my leg days, and I make sure I end every leg day on the quad machine.
Nice. Awesome. Love
Like
it.
quads are king. Um, running, yeah.
Cool.
I'm just trying to keep it the same, and I think that's just going to be a lifetime thing now. And I
Yeah.
do think I am grateful for the injury looking back now because I'm so much more prepared to go into old age. Now I'm in the gym doing these things. Before, I was kind of, I was working out at home, I was using dumbbells,
Yeah.
I was fit, but now I'm like lifting heavy weight and I know what I need. And it's more of like this routine. I have a better motivation for staying strong. If I
Yeah.
want to do what I love, this is how we get there into our 50s, 60s, 70s. So,
Yeah. I love it because that's what brings you longevity, right? Not just
mhm.
for the ACL, but like protecting your knees, your joints. And the
Yeah.
more you could kind of stay in that groove, the better it'll be for years and years to come. So I love the fact that you embrace that. Last couple things I wanted to ask you. Well, what would you say to someone who is like, let's say, a couple months post-op or a few months post-op, feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, like and they're going to their local PT, but they just feel like things aren't moving or they're not sure, um, what to do next.
I would say just schedule a call with Con and ask him some of those questions. And I think on that one phone call, they're going to get better answers. They're going to get more hope. And they're going to kind of start to see like an outline of a plan of what would work.
I appreciate that. And would you, I know you'd recommend us, but like tell me a little bit, or what would you say to others that are like, let's say, going through this ACL recovery program, looking at our program?
Mhm.
Do you have any regrets about it, or just share a
Yeah.
little bit more from your side?
I think something that was hard for me was anytime you're in recovery, you get stuck to a date. And I was like, okay, 6 months with Con, I'll be back to good. And at the 6 month mark, I was running with you, so it was a lot better, but I wasn't all the way better. And it was kind of hard for me to feel the guilt of paying for more PT.
Right,
I didn't make it on time, all that yada, 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 yada. And I think you would want to give up, but I just stuck with it and I bought another 6 months. And it's like, what's worth more than your health?
right.
And I am so glad that I worked with you. I think I worked with you for a full year.
Yeah,
Um, and it's hard. PT is expensive and paying out of pocket is hard. It's like, yeah, maybe your insurance would cover someone else, but are you going to actually be running and doing all these things by the end? And I wasn't with regular PT, and I know I wouldn't be. I don't know where I would be if I didn't do ACL Academy.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Anything else that you wanted to talk about or share? Anything that you had on your mind that that I didn't ask about?
I think a big thing with your program that I didn't get in PT either is your mental health help. You do a lot of in the beginning helping people visualize themselves in the accident and reframing it in their minds. And that really helped as well. And then just like staying positive and setting goals. And you've got a couple videos of people. I think you bring in other people to help with the mental
Yeah.
side of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that gets sort of thrown under the rug in regular PT. And for me, that was huge. And it's even more than physical. It's like in the early days, you can't do very much physically. It's all in your head of trusting that your knee can do these little things and not overthinking every little pain and ache. And your program has a daily practice on positivity, rethinking your accident. I think that's an important part of your program.
Thank you. I think, when you share that, it's awesome because I don't think it's talked about enough.
Mhm.
It is a big injury. It's a long rehab process. There's a big mental component, as you know. So any way that we can help from that regard too, I think it just makes the program better. So I'm glad that you found so much value in that, in us too. I'm so
Mhm.
happy you where you are. Obviously, you're back to doing so many amazing things and. It really is because you put in so much work. So again, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming on today and sharing everything. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Cara.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.